Welcome back to the Down the Middle podcast, 2025, season 4. H. Moore, how are you?
I'm very good, mate. We've had a lengthy break, but the pre-season's around the corner, so we thought we'd get in a bit early.
Well-deserved break, I think most would say.
100%.
Hey, our last episode was a big effort too, so I think we needed to have a
Exactly
break
right.
after that.
Yeah, we pulled some good episodes out last year, so ready to do it all again this year.
I was happy to finish on our second interview with Abby. If you haven't listened to that one back, let's go back and listen to that one. Or actually, just go back and listen to it anyway. I liked that interview. That was good.
It was
Couple of technical
very,
difficulties in the middle, as
yeah.
per as per
It's.
our
I was
usual
going to say,
interview.
if it doesn't happen, is it really a down the
Down the
middle
middle interview.
episode?
um, Silly season's pretty much it's silly season's over, really, isn't it?
Oh, mate, my silly season's been over for about 3.5 weeks now, mate. Went back to work on the 6th of January, so I
Well,
don't. Do you still know what work? I don't even know what you know what work is, mate, or
no,
what.
I have been chipping away at a few things this week, actually. Thank you very much. But
When
this
do you go
episode,
back to work, or this
when
week?
when this episode drops, so I go back on
Okay.
Friday. So this episode will be dropping on Friday, the 31st or whatever it is, and
hmm
I'll be slogging it away. I've got a little presentation to do actually first up in the morning. So yeah, I've been just making sure I'm up to speed on it.
So no school kids though. School kids are
No,
the what?
listen, okay, shout out to the Department of Education. Seriously,
They
four
are.
days, 4 days and no kids. 4 days. We go back on a
Yeah.
Friday, and they said, "Oh, the kids don't have to come back till Thursday." What are you doing sending us back on the Friday?
Yeah.
Absurd.
You just gives you 3 days before. Give you Monday to
It's
Wednesday.
mate, just go Monday to Wednesday. Like, no one's going to kick up a stink if teachers get one more day off.
No,
We've already had
you
a
you
hundred.
get too many at the start. What's one more day?
Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so whatever. So I'm back on the Friday. It's good. It's good. Sports been pretty much wrapping up. BBL finished over on Monday. The Oz Open finished up. We had a lot of cricket with
Yeah.
the Test series over the January. We're only looking towards one thing at the moment, aren't we?
That's it, mate. Well, look, really, it's footy. And then summer of cricket, depending on who's out in Australia. This year was good with India, but now that everything's wrapped up, tennis is coming through. That 2 weeks gone. Yeah, it's all eyes on Vegas or the NRL. Sorry,
It's all eyes on NRL with a spattering of the Live Golf Series starts pretty soon too. But it's
I think that's in a week and a half.
yeah, it's
In
it's all
yeah,
it's all focus is on NRL at the
yeah.
moment. Um, I'm itching. I'm itching to see some rugby league back on my TV. God damn.
I think it's 2 weeks.
We got the All
I th
Stars game.
Yeah, but then I think with the obviously the new sort of I think it's the second or third year with the trials that
Mm-hmm.
most teams will be putting out good teams to get the extra money. So.
Preseason challenge. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Anyway, right. So all systems go NRL. We are going to do probably 3 episodes of a bit of a season 25, season 2025 preview. We're going to break it up into a couple of teams each week. We're going alphabetical.
Yeah.
So, which we were just discussing is kind of alphabetical, but it's kind of not because we've got the Dolphins and today because they don't have an area that they are connected to. But we're going alphabetical today, starting off with the Brisbane Broncos, Canberra Raiders, sorry, Canterbury Bulldogs, Cronulla Sharks, and then the Dolphins. They just start with D, so they're in there as well.
Yeah.
Um, Talk us through what are we discussing, H?
Mate, we're going to just go with the ins and outs of the teams from the 2024 season to 25. We'll discuss if I think they're good moves. We won't obviously spend too long on all the teams. And then we got a predicted lineup of each team, and then we'll see. I think we didn't even speak about this. I think we rated out of 10 what we think each. And then yeah, sort of discuss.
Yeah. And we're by the end of our third episode, we'll have a bit of a predicted ladder. So we'll give a bit of where we think they'll finish this year,
Oh,
higher or lower.
yeah,
I don't have exact. Well, I do have exact positions where I think they'll finish, but it's spread over a couple of weeks. We might just go higher or lower, whereabouts, and then we'll give a predicted ladder by the end of it.
yeah, sounds good. I think there's
Jump in.
some
Some
teams you might know where
oh,
where they will be, or
some teams, as per usual,
but
I'll be a bit on the fence or a bit controversial, but there's other teams. It's like you know exactly where they're going.
but I feel yeah, even before thing, I think could be the wide open. Like there's not, you haven't got your shit team anymore. They've actually done all right.
It was. I'll be honest. I looked at it over the last week or so, and I've got my ladder in front of me, which is not set in stone, but it's pretty. It's written in pen, so I'd have to cross things out to change it. But it was pretty hard to for me. The top and the bottom was it was hard to work out who I exactly wanted in what
Mm.
order in particular. In what order in particular, I had a few teams in mind of where I wanted them at the top, who I wanted at the bottom. But yeah. Anyway, we'll find out next couple of weeks. You want to start with the Brisbane Broncos?
I think so with the Brisbane Broncos, mate.
All right. Well, I'll rattle off a few things. Last year they finished 12th. I had that as fail. In my
Yeah,
book.
it's
Would
so.
Would you
Well,
agree?
obviously with Kevin Walters getting the sack
Yep.
in the off season, or yes, in off season. So
Yeah.
mm,
So I've got that written down too. Obviously, Kevy out. We've got Madge in. I think that's going to be the big decider. As far as signings, 2025 gains, realistically, they've only got Ben Hunt coming. I think that is a big in. There's been a lot of talk about it. Obviously, things going on with Ezra Mam last year. It sort of adds a bit of leadership. It's another half that they can use, and they probably will have to use him. Um, Ben needed to get out of Sydney or out of the Dragons. It's not. I'll be interested. You've got the predicted sort of lineups there. It'll be interesting for me to see where he actually plays, and what role he has throughout the year. Because
obviously Ezra Mann's not available until
right,
round 10, so it makes it a bit easier.
well, yes,
Um,
but then even from then, will he still get an Origin call up? Those sorts of things, pending injury
mm,
here and there, whatever. There's no other signings from the source that I was going to. Re-signings, Mam has been re-signed until 29. Reynolds has got one more year. Um, then and you'll help me out here. The number 9 role is going to be something that's very interesting because I've also
yeah.
got two re-signings here, one for 2025, one for 2026. It's Tyson Smoothie and Billy Walters, both a hooking position. And Reece Walsh has been signed until 2029 as well. So, I think their team probably didn't look too bad when I was floating through it. But what's your take on a few of those things, H?
Mate, I think it's definitely us. Obviously, they're with all the contracts going on. I think it's more at the end of this year that they have a lot of people coming off.
Mm,
So I think maybe next year will probably be a bit more movement. But I think Madge's come in and he's had to clean up the sort of the pretty boy get away with anything mentality. I think through the club, obviously, a lot of people thought it's not run very good from the top to bottom. They let them get away with a lot of things during the year, even in the
Well, even
preseason.
even in recent years, there's been a lot of talk from like the old boys,
Yeah,
the old boys barbecues and the this and the that, and the old boys not being real happy. Whereas previously Brisbane was a club that sort of prided
sort of
themselves
prided, yeah.
on that. Um,
Mm.
yeah,
So, mate, I'll go through the predicted lineup. So, obviously at fullback, pretty easy, Reece Walsh. Um, and then they've put Cobbo and Jesse Arthurs on the wing.
yeah.
Sorry. And then Cantoni Staggs and Mariner in the centres. So that's a bit of I'm quite sure about Mariner. I don't know.
He was there
A
a bit
bit,
last year though.
He was a bit. Mate, obviously with Ezra Mann being suspended till round 10, they've got Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds in the halves.
What's your
So
thoughts on that combination?
it's more.
So
Um,
Reynolds obviously plays six, Hunt plays seven.
no.
No?
So this one's got it the other way around.
Okay.
I think Hunt will be more of a ball runner, what he sort of does in Origin, and a little bit what he did for the Dragons last year. Take to the line,
Mm.
dummy, short ball to the forward lock. I think yeah, Reynolds just kick the ball, don't do too much, just threaten them,
Yeah, that's fair. He's got a decent
so he
kicking
can
game,
stay on the
Adam
park.
Reynolds. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because if he
Okay.
tries to do much, he gets injured
Yep.
pretty much.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Um, so then and they've got Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan at 8 to 10. So they've sort of I'll go through the starting lineup and then we'll see what like sort of changed. Mate, these people have got Blake Mozer as their hooker. So I think so. Supposedly coming through the preseason, Madge is pretty impressed by him.
hmm
Um, but they said it's pretty wide open. I think the trial matches will definitely tell who would get the starting role.
So I finish off with your second rowers in the lock there.
And then in the second row was just pretty much exactly like last year, Pia Cora and Jordan Ricky, with Kobe Hetherington getting the nod, well, predicted nod at 13. So obviously they've moved Carrigan from 13 to 10.
I think Madge has
They
been
want
pretty
a bit more
impressed with.
touch.
I
Yeah.
think Madge has been pretty impressed with Kobe Hetherington. Um, so correct me if I'm wrong. In the squad, and I don't have it in front of me. I should go back on and get the squad up. Number nines, we've got predicted maybe Moser. We've got Billy Walters. We've got Tyson Smoothie. We've got Corey Pakes still, I think.
I think he moved on.
Did he? But then we've got
Not
Ben Hunt
sure.
that you know, if Ezra Mam comes back in,
So
I tip that
yeah,
Mam goes back into the starting side and then Ben Hunt is an extra option.
I think so. Well, with the bench, mate, bench is Billy Walters, Corey Jensen, Fletcher Baker, and Xavier Wilson.
Okay.
So I think, obviously, if no injuries to Hunt or Reynolds by the time Man comes in, I think Hunt goes to 9,
Mm,
and then Billy Walters or Moser would be the 14, and then one of them gets cut and then put.
okay.
But because I just what are you carrying Hunt on the bench for? What like he sort of come in as a 13, but you've got your big boys there. You've got Jensen and Wilson that will do
Well,
the job.
and see, that's the thing. If you carry Hunt on the bench, then you have to like you have to play him. You have
Yeah,
to.
it's not. Yeah,
I'm not
so
putting a Queensland Australian representative on the bench to
no,
do nothing. So and also I'm not putting him on the bench to play 20 minutes. Like I
no.
think he would have to really go and play uh like a significant
And I don't
role.
think Hunt would care playing hooker at Brisbane because he's out of Sydney.
Yeah.
I think
Pake's still in the squad also, I'm pretty sure.
okay.
I'm just looking at the Bronx website. Pake's still in the
Yeah,
squad. So that's a
I think he used the hooker thing last year at the Dragons just to get out. I think he doesn't care. He'll play that position,
yeah.
but I think he just used it as a little bullet.
Yeah. Couple of people you didn't did you mention Tupia on the bench? No?
No, mate. No, Billy Walters, Corey Jensen, Fletcher Baker, and Xavier Willison.
So a couple of
So,
people missing a spot to power. Jack Gazowski's been signed. He's come back from I think up north. Um, who else missing a spot there of note? Jock Madden obviously missing a spot now. Um, yeah. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
so yeah, hard to say. Like, geez, it's with only preseason, we only see so much what the teams want to put out or what the media sort of gets a look at.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think the difference will be Michael Maguire this year. I
yeah,
think I think the
they'll be fit.
difference around the club with the positional changes or the picking of the players, that sort of thing. Um, I still think for them to have a win, they'll need to make the eight. I
Mm.
think anything less than the eight is not a win. Um, although I'm tipping them to miss the eight, but probably improve on 12th.
Yeah, I think they improve. Yeah, improve as well without
Do you
giving
reckon?
too much
Do you
away.
reckon they could? Do you reckon they could crack the eight? Don't know. You don't want to give it away yet.
I'm tight-lipped, mate. I'm not going to be.
I'm tightly
I like people. Yeah, not tight-lipped, but I like saying
on
it
the
all at
edge,
once and then getting
on the edge of the
people's
seat.
reaction.
Okay, okay, all right. Any last words on the Bronx?
It's going to be interesting. I think interesting season. It's going to be. No, no, that's not saying because of what I
Who
haven't
they
said the letter, but I just
who do they play in round one? Let's have a look. They play. Yep, they play the Roosters round one. Allianz. Bookies have got
mm,
them to win that game. Holy dooly.
well, Roosters fuck the Roosters are shot.
Are they? You reckon? Okay. All right, next team. Canberra Raiders. You want to move on, or you want to give more?
No,
I thought
move
you were
on.
tight-lipped. Thought you were tight-lipped.
No, I'm right to move on.
Okay, Canberra Raiders. 2024 season they finished ninth. I think that's pretty good. They only missed out on the eight from for and against.
Point?
There,
Oh,
there
already
was a
got.
couple of teams there between seventh and 11th. I think that remember they all could have made depending on losses and wins and whatever right in that
Dragons
final
fucked it
round.
up.
Yes, Dragons absolutely screwed it up. Who they lost to Canberra? Did they not? And
Yeah, but
I
I
need
think it was like they lost like 4 or 5 in a row. You lost your 4 or 5 last 4 or 5 games, didn't you?
Yeah, and then they needed to. I think it was Canberra in the last. They needed to
To
win by
tie.
30 or something, and they needed I needed the Knights to lose by a million or something, whatever it was. So anyway, I thought decent finish from them.
Yeah.
2025 gains. I've got no one of note, no big name signings.
The, the only one is the prop Nicholson. I think something Nicholson. Nicholson from
Yeah,
England.
okay.
Other than
Well,
that,
I only wrote down that one of the young Dragons players, Savelia Tamale, who is potentially going all right in preseason training, might get a centre spot. And Ethan Sanders, there was a little bit of talk about him from the Eels. I think he might have played a game or two. Again, I think a young bloke.
yeah.
Um, but no one else that I could really see that stood out to me. Losses, though, a couple. Um, Jordan Rapiner is off to Hull FC. Elliot Whitehead off to Catalans and Nick Kotrick off to Catalans as well. So I think Rapiner for me and Whitehead probably two decent losses. We've also seen Emre Gula sign to the Dragons this week.
Yeah.
So, you know, no one that they can't replace, but
No.
I, I that I see as a net loss. They've probably lost more talent than they've gained. Pardon me. Um,
Yeah.
some re-signings. Fogarty's re-signed till 26. Ethan Strange until 28. KO Weeks till 27, and Matt Tomoko until 28. So there's sort of I think they're making sure they got some of those young blokes and some of those key positions, especially
Yeah,
Fogarty.
definitely.
They're keeping them around for a little bit. I think they memory serves me correct. Fogarty didn't play a fair few games last year. Injury,
He
maybe leg
started with
injury.
his, I think his ACL or something like that
Mm.
was, or not ACL, but
I think yeah,
something he
yeah,
did near the late of 2023. I think
yeah.
that stopped him.
So, um, yeah, hopefully he's back. But I don't know. I was interested just as I was looking through that there wasn't heaps of movement there. Ricky seems to be, I don't know, maybe just making a bit of a point that this is my team, as Ricky does. This is my team and this is who I want and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, what do you got there as far as a bit of a
Well,
predicted lineup?
I do, mate. I've got Kerry Weeks as fullback.
Yep,
Um, I've got, well, they've got Albert Hopewadi, but they do have that severely Tamayo in brackets.
yep.
So he's up at young. young and upcoming. They've got Matthew Timoko and Sebastian Chris in the centres with Xavier Savage on the other wing.
That makes
So
sense.
pretty much that five is 1 to 5 from last year, really.
There's not too many others that they could put there either, really. Chevy Stewart would probably be the only other bloke that might get a run there. Another young bloke, I think, maybe played a game or two at fullback or
Yeah.
on the wing.
Then they've got Ethan Strange in the six with Jamal Fogarty in the seven. I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised if maybe halfway through the year, Ethan Strange gets moved to the centres. But hey, I think that all depends on how they're going.
Okay.
Mate, you got Josh Papali'i and Joseph Tapine in the eight and tens, pretty much stalwarts, easy as. They've got Tom Starling at hooker,
Yep.
with Hudson Young and Zach Hoskins in the 11 and 12, with Morgan Smithies at lock. So
Yep.
that pretty. You look at that starting 11, 13, sorry, and it's pretty much nearly a mirror from last year, obviously, except with probably Zach Hoskins was on the bench with Elliot Whitehead
Yep.
in one of the second rowers. And then on the bench, you've got Danny Levi, Corey Horsburgh that's been training the house down supposedly in the preseason with
Yes, a lot of big
new
talk about him.
recruit, new recruit Matty Nicholson with, and then in his number 17, Atta Mariota. I'm pretty sure he played with them last year a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think so.
I do have a little thing with, I reckon, Raiders Jersey Flag Player of the Year, when that Paddy has been pressure in the preseason and will push both Tom Starling and Danny Levi for a round one spot.
Okay. What was he? Reserve grade player of the year, did you say?
Jersey Flag.
Jesse Flag.
So even,
Is
I
that
think that's
21s?
17, 18. Or is it? I think it's 17, 18. I think Jersey Flag.
Oh, okay. Young fella. Let me have a look. I'll say, I'll tell you how old he is. He is 21, mate. So might be 21s, but
Easy. Well,
yeah, that's all right. Not every, hey, sometimes you make mistakes. It's okay.
exactly. So, and then Zach Hoskins is in doubt for round one, but we'll see.
Yeah. Look, not a bad side, but considering they come ninth last year, considering what you
Lower.
said, it's almost, rinse and repeat team. I'm tipping that they finish lower. I don't
I'm with
think
you.
that the team itself, as well as the recruitment or lack
Mm.
of recruitment, I don't think it makes them any better than some of the other teams. I see them finishing lower. Um, Ricky's been coach now. A couple of things. Ricky's been coach now for 10 years. He had a grand final appearance in 2019. He's had a few top eight finishes over the last couple of years. He's
Mm.
probably he's probably got to start to convert something.
He's a fuck rich, so maybe. But yeah, I think he's got to do something. Um, yeah,
I have to put explicit on
but
this episode now.
yeah, sorry. Um, I think that yeah, I think consecutive top eights do something. But I think because he's a golden child down there, obviously one of
Yeah,
the old boys, won the grand finals. I don't think they'll never sack him. I think whenever he stops coaching, it will be on his terms, and then next
that'll
thing you
be
know,
it.
he'll probably go up to the boardroom or whatever and
He'll be like
start doing that,
a football manager or something.
like the general manager or sort of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
kind of thing.
But I,
But
I, I
yeah,
see I see him finishing lower than last year. So
yeah, I'm with you.
unlucky Raiders. What's going on here? I'm pressing buttons. Sorry.
Well,
Righto. Next,
and they
we
play
got.
the Warriors in Vegas
They
as
do.
well.
That's. I reckon Ricky would love Vegas.
You reckon? I'd love Vegas.
Although I almost don't reckon I'd want Ricky as my coach in Vegas because I think he might be a bit like, don't reckon.
Yeah, he'd be like
That's it,
curfew
boys.
sort of.
Right here. Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
righto. We got the dogs. The Canterbury Bulldogs finished last year sixth. I think that is definitely a win. Finally, I've written down finally getting toward performing to their potential. There's been a lot of talk about the dogs in the last 4 years. Everything from sort of Matt Burton signing over from the Panthers and the recruitment drive, Viliami Kikau, all
Mm.
those the players that they've signed the last couple of years, the whole team of utilities that they had in 2024,
And they've kept doing it this year. They haven't
they've just
stopped.
they've just kept going. Um, Lots of player movement over the last couple of years, and there's still a few players that I've noted down that have moved around. Would you say six last year was a win for them?
Massive overachievement.
Overachievement. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Um, I don't think, yeah, they did. They played good, but they definitely overachieved, and you can see at the start that they definitely peaked mid three quarters of the season
yeah.
because obviously I think the last 4 weeks they only won one game, I think, and
But
obviously went out first week. But I think, yeah,
they won the right amount of games without ever being maybe a true premiership threat.
yeah,
They won the right amount of games early to go, yeah, yeah, we're in. You
yeah.
know what I mean? I think that was pretty good. Now,
When they needed to win, they did. But yeah, it was overachievement.
yeah. Um, Gains for this year. They've got Marcelo Montoya from the Warriors. They've got Anari Tuwala from the Knights, and they've got is it Sitili Tupanua from the
From the
Roosters.
Roosters, yeah.
I actually like the Tupanua signing. Um,
Mm.
get to it sort of in a minute, but again, Montoya and Tuwala, the two main signings that I was looking at, two outside backs. And if we look at the losses, probably needed Josh Adokar, obviously moving out of the club after a few things. He's off to the Eels, so that maybe makes way for a winger. Hayes Perham's gone, and Gerald Skelton, who I think played a fair bit of ball in the last back end of the season, did he?
Yeah, they definitely went sort of small ball kind of thing, if you want to use that terminology. Last year, the doggies. But yeah,
Yeah. So he's off the Gerald Skelton's off to the Tigers. Yeah, he scored a few tries, so whatever. The only real re-signing of note was Max King. He signed on till 2027. He was all right last year. But
mm.
what do you reckon what's the predicted lineup sort of look like at the moment, do you think, H?
So
With
mate, the predicted,
also with Montoya, Tuwala and Tupanua joining.
yep, mate. So they've got Connor Tracy at fullback still. Then they've got new recruit Marcelo Montoya and Jacob Kraz on the wing with Bronson Sherry and Stephen Crichton
Yep.
in the centers. So I think now that Sherry had a pretty good,
He was
we
good
obviously
last
didn't
year,
pay
man.
too much in the first quarter because they sort of eased him back a little, eased him back a little bit. Sorry. So now that Kraz can go back on the wing where he's a lot better footy player. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much not changed. They've only pretty much really gone Adokar out, Montoya in. Matt Burton and Toby Sexton. Toby Sexton really solidified that number seven jersey at the end of
He
last year.
he come down from the Titans, yeah?
Yeah, he was Titans. Yeah,
Yeah. And he was pretty hit and miss at the Titans, but I thought he did a good job for the Dogs.
he did. I think he found his groove
Hmm.
and sort of went with it. As you said, newly re-signed Max King and Sam Hughes in the 8 and 10.
Yeah.
They
Two
sort
big
of played
fellas.
with Sam Hughes a little bit last year. They sort of named him and then started him on the bench. You obviously got Reid Marnie in the number nine with Viliami Kickout and Jacob Preston. Hopefully Preston can stay on the field this year. He's been pretty unlucky last year with injuries because he's a pretty good footy player.
I like him. I've had him in my Supercoach team the last couple of years.
Hmm.
Yeah, like you said, sometimes I had to put him on the reserve because he's missed a
Yeah,
couple of games here and there. But
yeah.
he's a good footy player.
And then the next two players, I just don't know why they love doing this. So they've got Kurt Mann at 13 and Bailey Haywood at 14.
I love Kurt Mann at 13.
He's not a first grader.
I'm
That's
a
just
fan
simple
of
as
I'm a
that.
fan of Kurt Mann.
No, no. And
I
they've
like
got
Kurt.
Tupanua. They've got Tupanua and Josh Curran. at 15, 16 with Jamin Salmon at 17. It's like you got 13, 14, 17. You got fucking three small blokes.
Go again. So
Like
Kurt Mann in the 13. Who's the 14? Bailey.
Bailey Haywood, Tupanua and Josh Curran in 15 and 16, and then Jamin Salmon in the 17. So really,
Salmon's all
you
right.
got
He's
you got two, yeah, but you got two. You'll have him at 14 then.
but
You got a two forward bench or you use Salmon as a 13. It's like, come on. You got Curran and Tupanua there. They can do that. Like I just
yeah, it's yeah.
and then you can
That's
have another forward. You go with three forward bench. Like I don't know.
so.
That's
Is
my
there any?
thinking, but
There's no props on that bench.
not really
There's
unless you
three
count
locks and a
Curran.
second rower. There's three locks and a second rower. Well, I suppose Curran will play in the front row,
I feel like
won't he?
it's two utilities and two second rowers really.
Yeah, but
I
yeah.
but yeah. But
But look, in saying that, like their forward pack, I'm just looking here. They don't have a whole lot of. They got Bailey
well
Hayward, Daniel Saluka for feeder. He's not that crash shot. Harry
they got
Hayes, Jack Todd, Jacob Preston, Jamin Salmon, sorry, Jake Turpin, like Josh Curran, Kurt Mann, Curtis Morin. I don't know who he is. Max King, Reed Marnie, Ryan Sutton. Maybe Ryan Sutton could get a run in the front row. Sam Hughes, Satili Tupanua, Tom Amone, who
yeah, he's
is
so
a
that's
prop,
what I was about to
and
say. Tom
Viliami
Amon,
Kikau.
he's just come back from England. They got high hopes, so they reckon he could push Haywood or Salmon out.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
So I think they need to do that to go with a three forward bench.
Bolster it up a little bit.
I'll
Yeah,
throw it up. Yeah.
make it a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Um, I still think it's a decent squad. It's not
Yeah,
a
100%.
it's not anything to write
No.
home about, but it's a decent squad. Um, finishing sixth, I think they'll stay around there. Finish sixth this year. I think they might be able to give the top four a little scare. Remember, the top six last year was very close,
I think it
which
was two
which
or
I'll
three
touch
points, I
on when
think.
we talk about the Sharks. Yep. So it was very close.
Mm.
I'm predicting it to be similar in 2025, where there won't be too many games between, say, 1 and 6. Um, I think they'll stay around the same. Maybe give the
Mm.
top four a bit of a scare. Might only be one game out or points difference or something.
What do you count as staying the same? Is that like two up or
Yeah,
down?
maybe one up or down or stay the same.
I'm down. I'll go down then.
Going down from sixth.
Yeah. I, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, look,
okay.
as we know from last year, I wasn't too high on the dogs last year, and I
You
sort of
hate the dogs. You just say it. You hate them.
I don't hate the dogs. Dislike them. Hate's a very bad word.
That's strong.
I only hate two teams in NRL.
Dragons and tigers. Okay, sure. On to the
No,
next one.
no, Manly and Storm.
Oh, okay, sure. I thought you were just going to be a
I
dick
dislike,
about
no,
it.
I dislike them. No, so yeah.
Manly and Storm. Lucky you moved out of home.
Mm.
Righto. Righto. All right, let's go to the Sharkies. Let's go to the Sharkies. All right. Let me get this up. Sharkies. All right. Last year, finished fourth. I thought that was probably a win in the Sharkies books. They did well to finish that high.
Yeah.
They were only I think 2 wins off the minor premiership, and only one win behind one win behind the Panthers, who came second and ended up being the premier. So, a lot of we spoke a lot about the amount of games Sharks lost last year, but realistically, they're only 2 wins away from
Yeah.
becoming first, and essentially at the end of the season, only 2 wins away from a premiership, really. So,
Yeah. Made it to a prelim, so take it.
yeah, so a great a great finish in my in my
Mm.
eyes. 2025 gains, the biggest one probably for all of the NRL. We've got Adam
Yeah.
Fanua-Blake,
Do you
huge
see him in the
signing,
paper yesterday?
mate. Holy moly!
He
Like,
he is fit for again. Like I seen it yesterday, and I was like, I didn't think he needed to change. I was excited for the big bopper to come in like a thick big bopper, but I've seen him now. I said 100%. I'm on this train.
He's ripped,
Like
man. I'm completely
he's
straight, but he is a good looking bloke. Like,
yeah,
holy moly. Um, he's just jacked, isn't he?
yeah. I
Well,
think he's coming into a system. He came in. He goes, look. I knew they were fit. Like I knew Fitzy was like full, like get him fit. So he said I started preseason 3 weeks on myself before going back to Sharks training because I wanted to put a good impression in. And he goes, I thought I was fit going in there, and that first 2 weeks they
he got
just
smashed.
spat me out and just
Oh yeah.
like yeah, and
I've
and
got
obviously pay dividends now.
Well, official Sharks website says height 189 centimeters, so he's 6 foot, whatever. Weight 123 kilos. You know what? He might be more than that with the amount of muscle he's got on there.
That's a fit 123. Like that's a lean, sorry, lean 123. I reckon.
Yeah.
Like it.
I, we might
Like,
need that updated, Sharkies.
mm,
Um, that's the big signing. Had a great year last year. He was in the Dally M race for a fair bit of that too. Did he get prop of the year?
what you got? Prop, yeah.
He get prop of the year. So, huge. I don't have any other necessarily notable signings. Do you, off the top of your head, for the Sharkies? You might know a little bit, sort of the
Not
nuances.
really. No, we sort of
I
were
don't think
pretty.
they
It
need
was
it
more.
anymore.
It was more just re-signing players in the year in advance kind of thing. Sort of.
Yeah. Well, even so, like re-signings, I've got a young man by the last name of Beryl, one of the great last names, some might say, signed on for another year. He had a couple of games and he played all right.
Yeah.
Hamlin Ueli is re-signed until 26. Do you like Hamlin Ueli? I
He
can't
was
remember
pretty.
if you like him.
He was injured.
Okay,
He was injured, so he needs to stay on the field. I think they did it out of because he's been in
sympathy.
and out. Sort of. Yeah.
Harodi's got this year on as well. Um, Iro signed on till 26. I think that's good because he probably deserves that.
Yeah.
He had a good year. And Toby Rudolph is signed until 26. I know you're a massive fan of Toby Rudolph.
But he just.
What
I don't know. I
do you
just.
mean? You messaged me yesterday you wanted to get rid of him, or today you wanted to get rid of him.
Well, if Hayden's going to go, I'd happily get rid of Rudolph. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh.
But
Anyway, your losses. You've lost Stalfanukin. I think he's retired. Hunt. What's his first name? Um,
oh, Royce,
Royce Hunt, he's gone to the Tigers.
thank
And
fuck,
Williams has gone to the Eels.
thank fuck, both of them. Thank you. I'll pay for your bus tickets to freaking Concord and Parramatta.
Yeah, Royce,
It,
Royce, Royce will probably get some game time over at the Tigers too.
you can only
Maybe
do 25 minutes.
he'll probably take 25 at the Tigers. Anyway, look, mate, you still got a lot of good stock there. What's I'd like to hear because you're reading obviously predicted lineups from a source. But I'd also like to hear your predicted lineup for your team as well, if it's changed.
Well, I'll go through it and then I'll see. I would change what I would want
Hit
to
me.
when I go. So, number one, Will Kennedy, agree. Sione Katoa and Ronaldo, the best two winger duos in the comp. I would, put them up there. Iro and Ramian, solid,
Done.
do their job. Braden Trindle and Nico Hines at 6 and 7. I don't really care what one you put them at. Um,
I don't think it
yeah,
matters either.
no, I think get Trindle to put the team on his back and let Hines just do his thing.
Do whatever.
I think it's like obviously the media are going to come for him again. He's like public enemy number one when we have a bad run. It's always like, oh, well, it's not the team, it's him.
Yeah,
So hopefully he has blocks all that out, has a good year, get back to his 2020 three form of when he won a Daily M, and we'll go from there. And then obviously Adam Fanua Blake and Oregon Kathusi. I would say this is the first change. I would have AFB at 8, but I would put Kathusi to the bench.
Hmm.
for Tom Hazelton. I would switch them two boys. So
Yeah, I like that actually.
and then obviously Nakora and Wilton, they're probably another two gun second rowers in the comp. And then Cameron McInnes at 13 now that Dale Finucane, like you said, retired about halfway through last year. He can play big minutes.
Yeah.
Just a beast.
Sharks website
Um,
still has Cameron McGuinness down as a hooker. Just FYI, hasn't played hooker in a long time.
yeah, hooker lock, pretty
Mm,
much really more probably lock now.
more lock.
And then on the bench, obviously, a Dragon player in 2026, Daniel Atkinson, Tom Hazelton. Like I said, I would probably put Kafusi there, Sifa Talakai, and Braden Hammond Ueli, in the 16 and
Who's
17.
going to play your number 9? Brayley.
Oh, Brayley, I told you, because he's such a lock. I just,
Yeah. No, I was
just
just looking
gosh,
through the
so
team. I'm like, hang on, you're missing someone. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So
To
yeah,
be
pretty
honest,
much the one change. Yeah,
you don't have too much other wriggle room than that, really, as far as
no,
you know, that's gonna be your squad, 25 out of
pretty much. And
26
then
weeks,
we
really.
we got a couple young. We got Pole, and he did his ACL again. Copeland
Yeah,
or something like that. I think.
Collar Quan or something. Yep, yep.
Yeah, so they're probably the two boys that
Jesse
would probably be,
Cole Quan. Yep, yep.
yeah, be pushing for bench spots
Yeah,
for
okay.
maybe Hamueli and maybe Atkinson, depending on how we go. See how he gets used, kind of thing. Sort of,
Also, Atkinson pending um, injuries or any selections maybe in the middle of the year.
yeah, pretty much like
Nico
last year.
Nico had to
Sort of
go out and what he was 19th
did his
man or something.
calf.
Well, he did his calf and then yeah. So if anyone gets an origin selection
Yeah,
or picks up a niggle, I think that's a pretty safe little sub to put Daniel Atkinson in.
yeah. Which pretty much, I think, really. The only thing that's changed that is Royce Hunt out and AFB in, and then
Yeah, yeah,
just switch one player to
yeah.
the bench.
I actually add in my notes Hunt gone to the Tigers but replaced with better because AFB just takes his spot. So yeah. Um,
Yeah,
Look, I think the squad's pretty balanced. I think it's pretty good. Everyone, like even reading that, there's not. I'm hoping that it's a good thing for the Sharks. There's not too many people fighting for positions. Everyone's
no.
probably going to know their role. I think Kennedy's only going to be better. Hines should be better this year. You'd you'd hope that AFB plays some big minutes.
Well, I
Might
reckon they get so it's going to be interesting. I reckon he'll only play 60. I think
Yeah, that's
he
still
does
enough.
like oh yeah, but they're not more of a like coming from the Warriors. It's like mate, we need you to play 80. Like you
True.
and you got to be that front man. Like he's
Well,
coming.
I wonder what he would prefer. I wonder if that will suit his game if his minutes
He
go
said he
from
doesn't
80 to
mind it.
65
He said he goes, look, if they need me to play big minutes, I'll play. But if they want me to play 50 to 60 and be more explosive,
and
um,
aggressive and physical.
yeah, sort of just yeah, he's happy to do that. I think because he's in no knock on the Warriors, he's in a better team, obviously. Uh,
Absolutely.
um, I think he sort of goes, you know what, you got to play that squad role now, not put the team on the back and roll your sleeves up.
You know what I was just thinking? I reckon he will score some tries this year. God damn, he
It's
will
like, well,
score some
mate,
tries.
Wade Egan's pretty good at a dummy half, but Blake Rayleigh, he's pretty up there with him as well, I think. Like they're
Couple of short balls.
well, how many?
Oh
I think
yeah.
Hazelton went in for 5 or 6 tries last year. You
He
know what I
did
mean?
actually. I
Like
think did he score maybe even the first game that he played or the first couple of games? I remember seeing his bald
I
head
think he went
cross
two or
over
three
under the
games in a
post or something.
row.
Far
So
out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, look, I'm tipping them to finish about the same as what they did.
yeah, I would
Around
say
that fourth
stay.
mark.
Yeah, 100%. I'll
I
take it.
think
Oh,
as
for
a
top four.
as opposed to the Raiders who didn't have much change in their squad, I think it's a good thing that the
It's
Sharks don't
yeah,
have too much change. They've just got the one in to really bolster, a position that needed bolstering.
yeah,
And I think that puts them in good stead to finish very similar around that top four sort of area.
very much agree.
Happy with that? Righto. Let's go the Dolphins. I'm just going to make sure I got their team right. The Dolphins 2024 result, 10th. They're getting better,
2
maybe.
years in a row that they've started early and fatigued late.
And look, Christian Wolf in as new coach. They've lost the super coach of
Christian Wolf's a
Wayne.
good coach though. He's pretty renowned in the Super League. Like for him to take a assistant coach for 2 years to be like one of the big coaches for St. Helens in the Super League, he's up there.
Yeah,
But
he's not Wayne
different
Bennett.
breed over here. He's not Wayne Bennett, but and it's not the Super League either.
Well, I think it's going to happen. Well, look, yeah, and I guess like you're saying, he's been around the system, so hopefully he knows what's going on. But I don't know. I think 10th. Yeah, we'll see. We'll get to that. 2025 gains. They've signed Max Fine from the Dragons. They've signed Daniel Saifiti from the Knights. I think that's probably a pretty good pickup. Bit of experience, a leader. Probably bolsters the forward pack. Some losses though. They've lost Ewan Aitken. He's gone down to the Bunnies. He's followed the man himself. Jesse Bromwich has retired. I've got Anthony Milford. Is now playing. Is now been signed with the South Logan Magpies, reserve grade. That's, you know what that is. That's about 3 years too late.
Yeah, I'm surprised they even took him.
Unbelievable. Um, Tessie New has moved on. TPJ got a spot with Catalans after
That
Bennett
bloke
sort of
can't
gave
make
him a
his mind up
lifeline.
with
Yeah,
what
can't make.
bloke does. Boxing, footy, Super League.
He's a muppet, that bloke.
Yeah,
And the sort of bit of a cult hero, Valence Tuare. He's been signed to, I can't remember what rugby union side it was. It might have been like in
really.
Japan or France or something. I was interested to see that he was let go. Um,
He couldn't lose the weight. They
I
just
think that's maybe what
like
it was,
I think they tried their hardest to help him
to
and
get him into shape, and he just didn't quite hit the markers. So,
yeah,
yeah. So looking at that, Ewan Aiken, Milford was in the other team. Tessie New in the other team. TBJ played a few games and Valence played a few games. Like the losses they've had were all blokes that were playing
yeah.
first grade. You know what I
I
mean?
just
Like, and again, these are only ones of note that I wrote down. I think there might have been a couple more. Um, re-signings, Jack Bostock until 2027 had a great year. Isaiah
yeah.
Katoa till 2028 has been playing fantastic the last couple of years. Um, I've got
Marshall
JMK,
King.
Marshall King. I'm like, what's JMK stand for? Until
Until
2028. Again,
2028. He's
I
done.
I talk
Yeah,
highly of him every other week, and Max Plath, who in looking at Supercoach is also
yeah.
one of the highest in people's teams.
Ownerships kind of thing.
Ownership is the word. Thank you very much. I think I'm having a stroke. Come on, someone check me
Nine
out.
times out of ten, that's me, and you're the
Oh,
one that sort of has
might just text
the
Leah.
word to
Come and take me. He's been re-signed till 2027. So
these. Yeah,
some good re-signings. I think Daniel Saifiti's not a bad pickup, but yeah, I don't know. What's the squad
I
predicted to look like? Do you think? You look like you don't really
yeah.
agree with it.
No, I agree with you. I just don't think it's a good squad. So I'll start with unavailable Tom Flegler, mid-season. I don't even know if he'll play NRL again. They sort of
Yeah.
reports going out last year that he was going to retire, come back late. So I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath. And Trey Fuller unfortunately did his knee in the
Oh,
Queensland Cup game when they made the finals. After the Dolphin season ended,
right.
he did
Yeah.
the knee. So
And he
he's pretty
had
much
and he had a
late season.
he had a
He break out
great
sort of.
finish to the season. Yeah, yeah.
So we'll start with the team. The hammer at the back, set in stone. Asako on one wing and Junior Tupou on the other wing. So
Hmm.
now that they've had a centre spot open up, so they've moved Jack Bostock into the centre with Herbie Farmworth. Solid. Sorry. So Jake Avarillo they predicted him to start at the six with Isaiah Katoa. don't know if I like that. I think he's a bit more of a four,
So they
to be
predict
honest.
this prediction has Jake Averillo at 6
Yeah, and this is
and
where
Isaiah Qatar at 7. Is
at
that what you're
7,
saying?
this is where the Dolphins are very, very light because they've lost Milford, Cody Nicarima, he's in the top 30. Like they just don't.
Still
They
there.
need to. And I think this is why they chased Munster pretty hard last year as well,
But
or
mate,
were going to.
they've still got Sean O'Sullivan, Kurt Donahue as well.
I don't
I
know what's
like
going on there. I thought
I thought
O'Sullivan put
Sean
O'Sullivan and
O'Sullivan.
Katoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then move Tupu out of the team and put Averillo in the centers and Bostock back to the wing.
I
That's what I
read
would have went.
let me find
Well, while you're doing that, I'll
keep
keep
going.
going with Daniel Saifidi and Felice Kafusi at 8 and 10. Solid. Jeremy Marshall King, as you said, JMK as the hooker. Beautiful.
Hmm.
Then you got new recruit Fini Fuaki coming from the Cowboys to play one second rower
Yep.
with Connie Lemu in the other one. You've got Max Platt at 13. He can obviously fill in for 9. If something happens to JMK. And then on the bench, you got Kurt Dongoe.
Yeah,
Dongo?
Donahue, yeah.
Donahue? Oh, is that it? Donahue. There you
Yeah.
go. The silent G. Tom Gilbert, Ray Stone, and Mark Nichols. So it's the halves that always let the Dolphins down. They
Yep.
don't have that. You look at every team, they've got that one star player kind of thing you sort of go to. Um, yeah, I'm not quite sure.
So looking at I just found it here. Someone who was looking at Dolphins training. Averillo and Kantoa were in the halves for a period of time at training. Cody Nicarima and Sean O'Sullivan played as the halves in the B team. Um, Jack Bostock, yeah, trained at center, and they had Bostock and Tupou on the left, and then Farnworth and Isako on the right. Nicarima's only just back to training, apparently. Um,
Mm,
I I know Averillo came from the Dogs, yeah? Is that right?
yeah, from the Dogs, yeah.
I think he was a center there, played a couple of filling games
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
in the
Well, he pretty much
halves.
played center last year. Like him and Farnworth were the centers last year for the Dolphins. Um,
Look, we don't know what's going on up there. We don't know what Christian Wolf sees. We don't know if he's gone, mate. This is now your position. You take it. You
mm,
shouldn't have been playing in the halves. We've got people that can cover it now. Blah blah blah. Whatever. I don't know. I don't see him as a better half than for me O'Sullivan.
yeah, he's a better footy player, but not just because he's a better footy player doesn't mean you play better in that
Yes,
position.
yes. He
Um,
probably is a better footy player, but I don't think he's a better half than.
no,
Although, unless maybe O'Sullivan is more of a 7, and they want Katoa to be the 7 and control. And his kicking game was fantastic last year. And they
he's
want
small though.
Averillo, but maybe they want Averillo to, as you said, a great footy player, go in there and just dart
Yeah,
around and find something and be a bit more, be Matt Burton esque.
yep.
Who is a fullback, is a center, is a half, is a 14, is a 13, like could play anywhere. Um, I don't know, maybe that's what Christian Wolf's thinking.
Mm. Yeah, we'll have to. I think Dolphins is definitely a trials team to watch out for. But with what they finished 10th, did you say? Sorry.
10th, yes, and so
They're down.
that was the same thing with the for and against the win or the loss in the last week and the whatever. Um,
Yeah, they're down.
I yeah, I think not having Wayne is going to make a difference. I've got them. Yeah, they'll drop a few positions,
Yeah.
and they play
Bottom
against
three.
the old coach round one up at
Mm.
Suncorp. They play against the Bunnies, so that'll be a good test. But yeah, I don't think they'll have the same sort of season as what they did last year,
Mm. I don't think so.
unfortunately. But whatever, that's okay. All right. Well, there you have it. We've gone through five teams. Five
Yeah.
teams. We've got mostly the same sort of predictions from both of us. The Broncos potentially going up. We've got the Raiders going down. We've got the Dogs staying around the same. Maybe you said go down. The Sharkies are going to probably stay around the same as what they were, and the Dolphins are going to drop. Dolphins could be in for a long year, even.
Yeah.
Heard it here
Yeah, I think
first.
so. And then next week, meaning we be going to the Gold Coast Titans, the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles, Melbourne Storm, New Zealand Warriors, Newcastle, and maybe the Cowboys, depending on how we're going,
I reckon we can
five or
sneak.
six. I would say we'd probably go six. So yeah, there will be the teams for next
That's
week,
a
and there
that's a nice little mix too. We've had two
it
good
is.
little
I think it was a
mixes.
good mix this
Yeah,
week as well. Sort of
ups and downs. Yeah,
up and down. Yeah,
nice. And look, we'll probably throw in a bit of golf over the next couple of weeks too. Maybe even an extra golf episode. You never know.
yeah. I think
Um,
maybe we might have to
we've got some live
do a
stuff
different
coming.
one.
Lots coming this year anyway, battlers. So just keep your ears and eyes peeled, open,
Yeah,
working,
definitely a lot
thinking,
more
listening.
near the start of the football season. We'll yeah
Yeah,
start to drop some things.
yeah, and yeah. All right, beauty. Season
See you
four,
next week.
episode one. I think episode 102 overall.
I think so. Yeah,
Must be. We got to 101. So yeah, 102. Episode
102.
102, H. 102. Far out.
Massive.
All right, battlers. We'll talk to you next week.
Says.